talking about periods and everything relating to menstruation. So menstruation, as most of us know, is a natural occurrence that millions of girls and young women around the world experience intimately. However, talking about it is like a taboo subject. It's more or less like the elephant in the living room that nobody wants to talk about. As a society, we do not flinch talking about things like doing a number one or number two, but feminine hygiene and menstruation is like a forbidden subject, and we need to improve on that. Things like talking about women's bodily experiences are all shrouded in secrecy. Nobody wants to open up about it. And we need to make these things comfortable to talk about. So today I've got 4 amazing young women with me. When I say young, we're not too young, going to lay it all bare. We're going to talk about it as it is. And we're going to share our experiences and knowledge on menstruation with you. And so I would entreat you all to get your families, get your girls, get your women, get the boys as well, because men need to learn a lot more about menstruation so they can support women. So I won't waste much time. I'm going to get each of the women to introduce themselves. I know there's been a lot of communication on Facebook, flyers, but it'll be good to get them to introduce themselves, tell us where they're joining us from. By the way, I'm Michelle Edudako, and I'm joining from Milton Keynes. I will start with Sophia. Sophia, tell us about yourself, where you're joining us from, and go in that order.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia Champon. I'm from Milton Keynes. I'm the founder and the executive director for GFS.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, Samira, yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Samira Bryden. I am a midwife based in central London. Yeah, that's me.
Patty Pat.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I'm Patience. I'm a registered nurse in the United States. Greetings from everyone.
That's good. Thank you. So as I said earlier on, as a society, we need to change our view. Our culture needs to change around menstruation. We need to start having open conversations about it. And these will start in our homes, our schools, our workplaces, and especially the media. But a lot of this will change if, as a people, we make a collective effort to talk about it. So today, we're not going to waste much time. Before we go on, just to let you know, we've got another person who'll be joining us. She's going to be our special guest. She'll join us very soon. And I wasn't got another surprise I told the ladies about. So I'll just go in straight quickly. So Samira, periods. I know as women, when we say menstruation, it's like, yeah, the everyday norm. What was your first menstrual experience like?
So my experience was very early. I saw my first menstruation at around 11 years old. So I think I was just coming to the end of primary school. So we hadn't had that topic taught to us at the time. I remember it being a weekend, and my parents were at home, my siblings were home. And I think I just felt, I felt a bit warm, and I knew I hadn't, peed myself. Yeah, I thought, let me go and check this. So I went straight to the bathroom, and there you are. You've got, something bright red in your underwear. And, at first I panicked because I thought, have I, because I was playing with friends prior, have I done something to injure myself, or what has happened? So I sat on the toilet for a while, just trying to contemplate whether I should call my mum or my dad. And I'm quite close to them both, so it would have been either of them. But I think at the time, I called my mum, and I just said, can you come and see something? So yeah, so she came, and she said, oh, okay. And she was very calm about it. She didn't look, frightened or anything. So that reassured me a bit. So so she said I should stay there. She's coming. So she brought back, a sanitary pad, and she helped me to wash myself and clean. And then she said, this is the start of womanhood. She didn't go into the topic of reproduction or of intercourse or any of that. I don't remember any of that, but I do remember her talking about personal hygiene. and how important personal hygiene would be, especially from now. And then she asked me, have I learned about this before? And I said, not properly, but you know, I think I had friends at the time who had also started. So I said, I've heard of something like this happening and it can come every month. And she said, yes, yes, that can happen. And so, yeah, all I remember is that it was quite a quiet day. She didn't make a fuss of it. I don't even think she told my dad at the time. It kind of felt like a secret between me and her, if that makes sense. So yeah, she kind of left it as, you know, whenever it comes, just tell me. If I'm not there, she directed where in her room I can go and find the sanitary towels. She didn't comment on what I would do at school because I don't think she had thought about it that much. But thankfully, after that one, I had quite a big gap before I had a second one. And by then, I had had some more education via my friends and from school. But from my mum, I don't think there was another topic or discussion about it other than you know where to find the sanitary pads.
Did you feel she was comfortable talking about it, or she was just trying to brush it off or get a conversation over and done quickly?
She was quite confident when she was talking about the hygiene element of it, because she wanted to make sure that I you know, I didn't start to smell or leak or. But I don't remember her ever talking about this can lead to a pregnancy or, you know, this is what this can lead to. That I don't remember any of that. It was just that for her, she just wanted me to know that it will come, it will keep coming. And when it does come, this is where you get the pads from. This is how often you should change. But yeah, no, I never had that birds and the bees or boys and girls.
The boiled eggs, none of that.
Well, actually, I think she did. I think she did that evening. She boiled an egg for me, and I didn't ask why. I think I just assumed, you know, she was cooking, I guess. But yeah, I don't remember her explaining what the significance of the egg was. But yes, I do remember her boiling an egg.
That's fine.
So yeah.
But Sophia, I'll come to you because, you know, Samira was born and raised in London. Well, she's still a Londoner.
Yeah.
And I want to try and see how our different backgrounds kind of impacted the conversation we had with our mothers or our grandmothers or whoever raised us when it comes to menstruation. So Sophia, I'll get you to share your experience as well. Tell us about how your first menstrual experience was like.
Well, my experience is not different from Samira's. I was raised up by my grandmother. So I remember mine came at night. So during the night, I didn't tell anyone, but in the morning, I remember running to my grandmother and telling her that I've got blood in my knickers. And then she took me to the bathroom. I remember having a bath. And then after that, she rolled a huge bunch of toilet tissue. And then she started with my knickers. And then she goes, don't tell anyone. Make a joke, yeah. So,
like the secret again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the secret. And that's where the stigma and the whole secrecy thing starts coming. So I'm walking around with a huge toilet tissue in my knickers. And then I remember there wasn't much blood coming as at the time. And going to school, and I felt really awkward because I felt something bad has happened to me. There is blood coming out of me. There was no education. There was no conversation on what has happened to me. For Samira, well, she was lucky enough for her mom to tell her that it was the beginning of womanhood for her. For me, I didn't have that. So I remember going to school, and then was it during break time or that Sunday time? And then this huge toilet tissue comes up from my knickers. So I went back to the class, and then I know most of my mates, maybe some of them who are watching will remember this story. And then I remember I soaked myself, my uniform, my decks, everything was all soaked with blood. So I remember taking that walk of shame to my class teacher, who was a male, Mr. Badu. And then I said to him, oh, when I was coming to school, I wasn't well. My grandmother says if I feel very unwell, I should come home. So that's how I went home, and then that was it. And that's at the time my mom was still there, but then my grandmother said to me, "Don't tell anyone." So I didn't even mention it to my mom. That was how secret, sort of secret it was. It's a secret between the two of us. So that was my experience. And from that time, there was no talking about it. Every time when it comes, I knew what to do. And then I knew how to clean myself. I knew how to keep myself clean. So yeah, that was it. There was no etto for me.
Did you have any education from school regarding menstruation and how to go about it before?
Yes, I had my mens at the age of 11, same as Samira, quite early. And I was in class 6 as at the time. And I remember that was the time that we were learning a bit more about, was it life skills or social studies? I can't remember which one of them. And my class teacher was a male. So just imagine a male teacher teaching girls about menstruation. He wasn't comfortable about it. And I think from his religious background too, they were not allowed to educate or mention menstruation. So it was very uncomfortable for him. So the first time that I had education on menstruation was in the classroom, and was given to me by a male teacher.
That's interesting. Pat, I'll bring you in here because you were also raised by your grandma. So what was your experience like? Was it similar to Sophia's or a bit different?
Mine might be a little bit different because, you know, being born in Ghana, every household has a way of doing things to begin with, right? My experience was more like I grew up among boys. And if you're female in the midst of boys, you're told to, right, clean yourself, you know, make sure you're not naked, you're not exposing yourself, you know, African mentality, you know, all of those. So something like that, it's more of like a huge major secret because you don't want your brothers to know that this is what happened. Because and back in the day, you know, people didn't have a lot of education on these things and people didn't understand, especially we the younger people, and you don't know if you're going to be teased. And I grew up in a household where everybody teased everybody. So this is something, you know, I don't want anybody to know, baby.
But did your grandma tell you about it? Like, did she introduce the conversation as, oh, this is
nobody ever did.
Nobody. Did she give you like a sanitary pad, or what? How did you go about it?
So here is what happened. You know how like when it's time for you to have your periods, days before you start having stomach cramps. So, you know, days before my stomach hurt. I didn't understand. Your stomach just hurt. You know, you just be complaining, oh, my stomach hurt. You get some, what is the pain medicine they give in Ghana again? Paracetamol. You take it, you know, you feel better, you go about your day. So mine was in the middle of the night. Then I'm like, oh my God, what is this? But yeah, prior to that, I had older cousins who were females that I knew had that. So what happened was one of my older cousins was around and I told her and she's like, oh, we got to tell grandma, you know, we got to tell her this. So I'm like, why do we have to tell anybody? First of all, I'm just confiding in you about something. I thought it was a secret though. You know,
why do you think it was a secret? Because if you've never had periods, was it because of the way your older cousins went about it?
Because nobody ever spoke about it. And guess what? Even when they had their period, it's something they hid it. They won't let anybody see if they're carrying the sanitary napkin, the tampon or whatever. Nobody wants anybody to see they have one.
I don't think I ever saw my mum with a sanitary towel ever.
Yeah,
it's well hidden. It's well hidden.
It's well hidden. You do not want anybody to see. So the only time you might actually catch glimpses of it is like, you know how it's wrapped in like a plastic wrap, and maybe when you let go of the plastic wrap, that's all you
make that funny noise.
Yes, that's all you get to see. And plus, even if they buy the sanitary napkins, remember in Ghana, it used to come in a plastic pack. People hid it, like they will hide it in their belongings that you don't visibly see it. Unlike today, you could walk into somebody's bathroom closet and you have a whole stack of like pads and tampons and what you know, everything in there. Before you guys can all agree that's not something you would see visibly.
Yeah.
People hid it from their husbands. Why? Because
Yeah.
of the stigma attached. So my experience was more of like secretive. I didn't want my brothers to know because they're men. They don't understand. Plus, I felt like this is not normal, you know? And in Ghana, we didn't have no education that actually brought out, like, let's talk about it. No, there was nothing like a formal education on it. So it made it so hard to express it. But then I had supportive family that were like, it's okay, it's part of life, it's normal. But like Samira said, the major focus was on the hygiene. The very major focus was on the hygiene. And being a female, they stress on the importance of keeping yourself clean because you do not want to go out smelling or any of that thing. So my experience it was kind of like a little bit weird, but then it was kind of, I got a little support too. And I was a curious child. So I saw a little things. I'm like, okay. Then after the first one, second one comes and I felt like, you easing into the normal way of life. So now it doesn't become a big deal anymore after you understand that every woman goes through that phase. So it wasn't a big deal after I think the first couple three. Then, we eased our way into it. Finally, they have to let your parents know and all of that. Everybody in the family kind of like knew, except the boys, they can't tell them.
Yeah.
But that was
talking about that. I'm just relating it to my personal experience. I was sharing with Sophia the other time. I also had my period just about 11. I should think it was 10, but my mom corrected it. I was 11, and it was a school day. I was getting ready to go to school in the morning. Went to the bathroom and I saw it, and I screamed, called my mom because I didn't know what it was. I think at the time we hadn't had education in school yet. So my mom was all excited, going, "Oh, Mebana ya bio," like literally meaning my daughter is now like a woman or like a girl. And I was thinking, I've always been a girl. What is this about Mebana ya bio?
It's
and
a big
she gave,
for them.
yeah, she gave me this big sanitary pad to use. She showed me how to use, but it was so thick. It was that thick, and I'm like, oh God. And she explained to me what to do when you go to school, change it. And at the time, I was rushing to get out because I was almost late. I didn't really pay attention to what she was saying. And I just went to school. And I came back and I had the spare sanitary pad in my bag. And she was like, "Did you not change?" And I was like, "Well, you said to me to change if it leaks or I feel wet." I didn't feel wet, so why did we change?
I think that's the thing. Bishop, if I should come in a bit, I think it's something to do with the first period.
Yes.
The first one, you don't get the normal flow after it comes to the pots, bits and bits. So yeah.
And that goes back to education, because if they were telling us all about it, we would know what to expect. But it's just a quick conversation and you're told, make sure nobody touches you because you die, meaning make sure nobody. And at the time, I'm looking at my 11-year-old self. If you tell me, make sure a man doesn't touch you, because if a man touches you, you will die. How am I meant to process that? But of course, with our local key language and with most African languages, we speak in like proverbial terms, and it's not like literally don't let a man touch you. So yeah, that was quite interesting. Before we continue, we've got Sister Chum with us, joining us. So we're going to bring her in now.
In and out capital. Is it the in and out one?
Is she in?
Yes, I'm here.
We should continue. I think we're having a few issues with getting Sissy in, so she'll join us later on. So I'll just move on to the next question we'll be discussing here. So based on the experiences we've shared, do you think we've kind of gotten so used to not talking about periods as women that the issues that come with it, like the menstrual cramps, not having proper hygiene, sanitary towels, or the hygiene that comes, we've not really looked into it as women to address, because we've been so secretive about it and we're not talking about it. What's your view on that, Sophia?
I think it's, for me, I will answer that question from a cultural aspect, from the background of how we were brought up. I mean, back to my experience, from that age, I was meant to believe that menstruation is a secret. You don't talk to people about it. It's so personal. So you kind of grow into that mold, and it would take a lot of education. It would take a lot of exposure for you to be able to express how you feel, and then if you're experiencing any menstrual needs as at the time. And that's the reason why what we're doing is so important, and is so down to my heart, that we'll be able to educate these girls even before they have their first menstruation. So before they hit that age, they know how menstruation comes about. They can know how to calculate their menstrual cycle. They will have knowledge of the kind of menstrual products that is available and which one of them that they prefer. So from a cultural point of view, it's how we've been brought up to believe and to know, and that is why we are working so hard to break that cycle and to break that barrier, so that girls will have lots and lots of knowledge on menstruation before they hit their menarche.
On the topic of products, were any of you told that tampons were dangerous?
Do you know what? I didn't even know about tampons. It wasn't a conversation.
I didn't know about tampons.
Well, back then, mainly people, I feel like, especially we people that were born in Africa, in Ghana, if it was more of like the sanitary napkins and also toilet paper, which is what they call now tea roll. It was more of like toilet paper, and I felt like it also has some financial issues attached, because some households weren't able to afford the sanitary napkins. Unlike before, it was expensive. Now it's like easily available to get. But before,
it's still expensive. It's still expensive.
It's still expensive.
I was just going to say that it's still expensive. Most people can't afford it.
Most people cannot afford it.
But there were like limited supply of it. It was like, let's say, one brand. That was just it. It was limited supply. And it came to a point where, like, I think some household, it's like, you know, don't get me wrong, some families, you know, have financial issues. So that wasn't something they were willing to sacrifice for their baby girls or their females in the family. So the other alternative was like the toilet paper issue.
Oh, Pat, you forgot one product. So the toilet paper and the sanitary pads we had available then are even luxury items. Most girls don't even have that. They have what they call, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like an old or used rag that you wash and use. As,
that was
tell you what, people still use it.
There you go.
Yeah.
People still use the rag.
Yeah,
yes,
people still use them.
Yeah.
Whatever makes anybody comfortable, I feel like, whatever type that makes you comfortable, but the goal is to get something that is more effective to hold up your flow, because, you know, everybody also flows differently. That's another thing.
Yeah,
but
these girls don't use those products. Pat, not to cut you, those using racks and toilet rolls, they don't use it because that is what makes them comfortable. That is what they have available to them. Because yesterday, because we had to do this, I was having a conversation with my mom, and I was saying to her, look, you didn't tell me a lot of this, and she was just quiet on the phone. And I was like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, but I'm just saying that based on what I know now, I think I could have done with a bit more education. And she said, look, this is what I had growing up. When she was growing up, toilet rolls were not even a thing. She had to use the racks. So for her, she felt she's done so much, being able to even afford a sanitary pad, even if it was that thick or it was the brand available at the time.
What's the deal if your household can afford that? Because remember, our mothers and our grandmas, they didn't have access to that. You know, we were fortunate enough to come into an era where these things were available, but then some of us weren't fortunate, as some of them had to still use what our grandmas used or our moms used, and some of us also had to use the modern ones that were there, like the sanitary napkins, tampons, and everything. So it's more of like, it has to do with where we come from as people, as culturally, like Sophia said. It takes a lot, and we've come a long way. But then there's still a stigma of, let me keep this private. Let me keep this a secret. I do not want anybody to know, which we trying to break that cycle. But the question is, are we comfortable enough, or the people around us, are they comfortable enough to accept it as it is? Remember also, we have some religions that do not want a woman close to them if they haven't, you know, your menses and all of that.
There are some churches you can't attend as well, isn't it? If you're menstruating.
In India, you can't get into the temple when you're on your menstruation. You can't.
So we have to, people have come a long way of trying to avoid people talking about it just so that they could fit into the normal way of life. They think it's normal because we have a lot of restrictions. We've come a long way, but back then there was a lot of restrictions. Some religion, if you're in your menses, you cannot even speak or cook for somebody. It's just, but then we've come a long way. So I think the goal is to keep, you know,
talking about it,
educating people about it, letting people know that this is a normal way of life. This is not abnormal.
I'm going to hold you there. 1 second. I think we've got Sissy now, so we're going to bring Sissy in.
Okay.
So can we get, I think Sissy is joining us now. Hello, Sissy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, okay.
Oh, we need to see you.
Hi.
Hi, Sissy.
Hi.
Hello, welcome to Alumna. Thanks so much for joining. So we've been having, I think we've been on for the last 30 minutes talking about menstruation and periods, what our experiences were like as women, whether we feel we're not talking about it enough, so the stigma still remains. And it is good you've joined us. I'm quickly going to get you to, probably not get you to share your first experience, that is if you don't mind, but Sissy, what do you think, sorry, I'm trying to adjust my screen so I can see you. Yeah, that's fine. What do you think we can do to make the experience better for the next generation? Because I know you've raised 2 girls of your own daughters. You've had a number of women live under your roof that you've raised. How do you think we can make the experience better for the next generation?
Okay, thank you, Akia. I think we should talk about it more and more because growing up is a taboo to talk about those things. But as raising 2 girls now, I think it's about time we talk about our girls. We teach them about it, and then they feel comfortable with it. To know that it is normal for a girl to, go through certain stages of their lives. So I think we have to, talk about it as we are doing now. We need to, and make it clear out there that it's normal for a girl to, go through menstruation.
Yeah. Talking about having open conversations, at what age do you think is appropriate? At what age did you have the conversation with your girls? I know you've got Fia and Shura.
Funny enough, Africans, the way we do our thing, I didn't go through that. So, nobody taught me about anything. I woke up one morning and I saw myself bleeding. But then I was privileged to know about it in school because life skills, they taught us about it. So I had a little knowledge about it. So I was able to take care of myself then. But Inshira and Efia, of course, Inshira and Efia had their periods very early. I don't know why, but as we things get to change because I had mine when I was, I think, JHS 3 or so. It took a while before.
It's a change now.
Yeah. That is about 14, 15.
Well, like 11 years when I saw them menstruating, and then so I saw it before. Talking to them and then show them how to go about the whole thing, and put sanitary pads in their bags when they are going to school and all that, and then made them aware of it that this is it. So that's it.
Can I put a direct question? Sorry, I'm kind of on your case now, but were you comfortable talking about it, or did you feel, I need to just rush this conversation?
No, I was very comfortable. I was very comfortable. Yeah, we've come a long way, and this time and age, if you don't open up to your kids, somebody might teach them the wrong thing. So as a mother, you need to, have that. And these kids are friends, like more like friends now. Those times you
it's more formal relationship between you and your parents.
Yeah, so if you have a formal relationship with your kids, it's comfortable. I was so comfortable to talk to them about it.
I think, Akia, let me come in at this point. I think Cece has just hit it. She just hit it, the nail right on the head. Yeah. And this is one of the things that we are trying to put across to parents. According to the GES, the Ghana Education Service, it's only a small fraction of parents who are talking to their children about menstruation. So where are the girls getting the information from? They are getting it from their friends. And how much do they know? But then accurate information on menstruation is so crucial for girls in managing their menstruation. So perhaps it's a good platform to let parents know that the only person who can talk to the girls about menstruation is you. It is not the work of a teacher. It is not the work of a health worker. You are the only person. And it can only start if you have a good relationship with your children at home. So at this time, even before they hit puberty, have an interest in them, be interested in the things that they do. Start talking to them when you see the hairs coming up in their, in their underarm,
the pubic hairs.
Yes, start having that conversation with them, because from there, you know that it wouldn't be long. They are going to have their first menstruation. So well done, Sissy.
Sophia, on that point, so I was going to actually ask you, at what age do you think we should start talking to, I won't say girls, because we will come back to this later, but I think we need to probably include boys in the conversation, but we'll come back to that. I was going to ask you, what age do you think is appropriate to talk to children about menstruation and or periods? But you just mentioned that is when we start seeing the puberty, the changes in body, yes, or puberty. Samira, yes, do you agree with that? Do you think we should wait to see the changes in their body, or there's a particular age at which we need to start talking to kids about periods or menstruation?
It's a tough one because puberty hits differently at different ages. So I think you need to individualize it to your child. Like you say, if you start to see those hairs appearing, or, that body odor or something like that, which is coming at the age of 9, where you're expecting it at 11, maybe you need to tailor it sooner to that child. I don't think we should fix an age on when we should educate them, because they all mature at different stages. If that answers your question, yeah, I think we should individualize according to, the need. However, if you're reaching out to, larger groups, then I think the right time is, which most of us is when we were moving on to secondary school, which is around about 11, where that topic is taught anyway, which I think is about right, if you're teaching larger groups. But if we're talking about your own children, then you tailor that to the needs of that child.
I actually do believe that the conversation, like she said, has to be individualized, right? Yeah. It has to fit a specific child needs. But here is the thing, as a parent, doesn't matter if you're the dad or the mom, you should start educating your child, like your baby girl, at a very early age, even though they might not have experienced no signs of puberty. But once you get the ideas into it, we have children that actually takes it upon themselves to learn more and ask questions more, so that when they get to that specific age or whatever time that it hits for them, they're not finding themselves, oh, should I tell mom? Should I tell dad? What am I supposed to do? But then they would be matured enough to take care of themselves before they even come to you and tell you, I had my first period. So it comes down to how our relationship with our baby girls at a certain point in their life. You know what I mean? So remember, children also learn by seeing. Whatever you do, a child sees it. So let's say you're a mom and you have a baby girl, let's say 7, 8. Do not hide that napkin from that baby child. Do not hide that tampon. If you're going to shop to buy it, drag her with you. Let her understand this is what women need. I feel like if maybe they have done that with us, we wouldn't have been keeping it a secret today that back in school, would I have come to you and be like, hey, do you have a sanitary napkin that I could borrow?
Yeah, we'll be whispering it.
It's so hard to even go to your fellow female to ask. You guys can agree on it. You can.
Do you think though this applies to male children? Because I have a male child, he's 6, and you're saying, you know, not to hide them, but I don't know whether I would just leave those out for him, because then he would be wondering, why are you using this?
I was actually talking about like your girl child. You can have a conversation with the boy child, but you might not have a detailed one. Like I'm suggesting, like taking them to the store to purchase it with your baby girl than your baby boy. You know what I mean? A boy child, it comes down to when do you break that news to him? Remember, the boys actually learn it from the street before they learn it from their parents, because we're not telling them. We are not.
I'll share an experience with you regarding being secretive about it. Oh, okay, Sophia, finish.
Let me add on to what Kat and Samira have just said. I have a little girl, she's 6 years, but she's got a mind of her own. She's very curious.
Oh, trust me, I know that girl.
She is very curious. So if you ask her about what we use the menstrual pads for, she knows.
She's aware of it.
Yes, she knows. So when she sees me using the menstrual pad, she'll come and ask me, Mom, are you on your period?
At 6 years old?
At 6 years old, yes.
And I know her, Samira, she is very intelligent, way more advanced than her age.
Sometimes she's the one I would tell to say that, oh, here what, get me the menstrual pads from the downstairs toilet. And it's the same for my son. He doesn't know what periods is, but he knows that at some point, Mom used this. So he knows what it is used for, but he doesn't have lots of knowledge on what is happening. But then he knows that that menstrual pad is a necessity for Mom at some point during the month. So it depends on the relationship and how the home environment is.
That's
I was
actually
just going to share an experience, a personal experience, because, you know, because we're so secretive about it, I was telling Samira and Sophia the other day. So I'll say about 3 years ago, because I work in London, I live in Milton Keynes, I get the national rail to London. And mostly I don't leave the office early, but I give myself just about enough time to get to the station and get my train. And that day I realized the stock of sanitary pads I keep in my drawer at work had finished, because I had a few friends and work colleagues borrow some. So I needed to refill it. So I walked into Boots at Houston. Boots is like, for part, you're in New York, so Boots is like a pharmacy store where different items, products or medicines are sold. So I went in there and the station was so packed because trains had been canceled and there were so many people on the concourse coming right into the shop. So I wanted to get the sanitary pad. I took it and I was so embarrassed looking at everyone around. I was like, God, I'm not going to the till to pay for it. I held it in my basket, walked around the store for about 10 minutes, missed my train because I was so embarrassed going to pay for it. Then I saw a girl, I saw about a 17-year-old girl walk in there, grab tampons, go to the till to pay for it. They didn't even take her bag. And I'm standing there going, I'm like a 20-something-year-old woman, and I'm standing here with the sanitary pad, so embarrassed going to pay for it. A 17-year-old is coming and just gone out with her tampons. But it comes back to not being open about it and not talking about it. And these are some of the things we have to deal with as we grow.
So you just need GFF.
Yeah, I need GFF. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly go back to Sissy. So Sissy, how do you think we can make the menstrual experience pleasant for ourselves every month? So, because as we all are aware, some women do suffer a lot with their periods. They get cramps and they're in pain. How do you think we can make these experiences better for ourselves as women?
Okay, I will talk about my own experience. Anytime I take in a lot of sugar and soda and I mean, I don't eat well. I realize I suffer when it's time to have my menstruation. So I think eating well helps you. I mean, not having that serious pains and all that. I mean, we should eat more fruit, vegetables, and I mean, avoid sugar and calories and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's a good shout. Because I used to be a sweet tooth, although I'm converted now, I'm changed, I'm reformed.
Yeah.
Samira, you're a midwife. How do you think we can make this experience better for ourselves as women?
I think education is key. Being aware of your bodies. So as a midwife, of course, by the time women have come to me, they have already conceived, which, you know, demonstrates that, you know, they have got a good working cycle. So I'm not preview to the women that have not yet conceived. But yes, I think just understanding your bodies, knowing yourself, you know, keeping a log of your cycle in a diary, or there's lots of phone apps nowadays where you can keep a log of your periods so that you know how long they are. Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the things I can suggest in bettering ourselves is keeping ourselves educated.
Yeah, that's fine. Sophia, have you got anything to add to that? Because you've had a lot of experience educating girls on menstruation and periods and how to manage their periods.
Yeah, I think for us as women, we should see it as that special time of the month for you. Nature has brought it that this is the time that you need to take really good care of yourself. And I don't think it is by accident that when you have your menstruation, your hormones are everywhere. Sometimes you just want to be by yourself. You don't want to be with people. You want to listen to good music. So I think it's a time to pamper yourself. Just do the things that you can't do when you're always running around. Get a bar of chocolate. Get something.
Oh, the sugar.
No, sugar.
Yeah, it's not for everyone, because during that time you are burning a lot of calories. So you need to fit that in. So get a
and
bar
also
of
hormone-wise, your hormones are low. So apparently chocolate produces oxytocin, and oxytocin makes you feel good. So I can see why, you know, you're suggesting chocolate or things that make you feel good, just so you can release some more oxytocin.
Yeah, so you see, I'm right. The midwife.
You are right there.
Yeah.
Perfect excuse to eat more chocolate.
No, I'm not saying more chocolate. I'm saying things that make you feel good.
You need that feel good factor. Put your feet up. And I think we've come to the stage where we think enduring that pain is a form of strength. It's not. If you feel you're at a point where you need help, just tell your husband, tell your partner, tell your work colleagues, I'm on my period. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be shy to ask. Ask them for help. It's your me time. Enjoy it. It shouldn't be endured, I think. Menstruation is meant to be enjoyed.
I mean, with having to have a good menstrual period, like a good cycle, you know, things to do, like Cece said, a good diet is very important. You have to actually take care of yourself, because whatever we eat affects us, the body. Everything you put into yourself comes out some way, some form, some shape. So you have to be healthy, eat a good diet. Exercise also helps. Exercise is a very good thing. You know, most of us like to be couch potatoes. No, please get out, walk, you know.
No,
run.
what about those of us who don't like the gym? If I'm taking normal walks during the day, say 20 minutes walk, that's also exercise.
That's still exercise. So whatever you do makes you not stay at home. I want you to get some activity in you, eat healthy, and you know, but here is one thing that we forget to understand. Having menstrual pains, some of them are not normal.
Yeah.
Some of them are not normal, even though we put it out there that it's normal, nobody's talking about it. So you have somebody that is like dying in pain. Some of them are not normal. So
some women with fibroids bleed quite heavily.
And endometriosis and a whole lot of stuff. So depending on the type of pain that you have to have pain. You're gonna experience the cramps. But if the pain is so unbearable that you are like not functioning, you can't even move yourself, I would suggest a gynecologist, your primary care provider, whoever you have to see, just to see if there is an underlying cause for it. Do not assume that this is normal. It's not. Some of it is not normal, because I know friends and family that are like, they will be throwing up, having severe headaches, and it's a point of like dying for them. Some of them are not normal, and it all comes to your body. So I would say, like Cece said, eat healthy, avoid a lot of sugars. You know, sugar's nice. You know, I would like a box of chocolate, but just in a moderation period, like moderation.
And I think I support that. You've got to know your body more, because even with me, I noticed that if I don't eat well during the month, if I eat a lot of junk or feed on sugary stuff, I have very bad periods. With time, I have learned to limit the sugar intake. That is not for everyone. This is just for me. So I don't actively put sugar in my food. I don't eat junk. Oh, I hardly even go to, I don't remember the last time I went to KFC or McDonald's. I'm not saying people shouldn't, but this is just me. And I noticed doing these things has really improved my periods. I don't get the painful periods I used to get back in the day. So ladies, I told you I've got a surprise for you today. I'm going to bring the surprise in. Let me just wait. So I've got my lovely husband here.
I hope I'm allowed in this space as well.
No.
Oh,
Of course.
Only for today.
yeah,
You're meant to be at work.
Hey, I try.
You know, he's got the jollof rice cooking, so that was good enough excuse for him to stay home.
So I'm happy about this. I wasn't given an
You've
invitation.
got to be happy.
It's a good surprise, isn't it?
Yeah. So I want my husband to talk to us about to what extent menstruation is an indicator of a good reproductive health in women or girls. Yeah.
So I'll begin with a brief introduction. So my name is Michael, husband to Michelle. I'm one of the medical doctors. I'm doing internal medicine in Milton Keynes Hospital, United Kingdom. Really, menstruation is a very important metric in understanding how well a woman's reproductive system is. Because menstruation, in a sense, is when you have the lining of your womb shed after every time eggs are produced and released and they don't meet a sperm, essentially. So it's more or less a way that we find out whether the menstrual cycle actually is working properly. Now, you can have it happen in different ways in different women. The experience is very different. I was just listening into the conversation, very interesting, preparing us for the men's session tomorrow. And I do pick a lot of different ideas coming from the fact that there's so much variety in how it presents, from things like premenstrual syndromes where women have bloating, sometimes nausea, not feeling really themselves, to heavy flow or even lack of flow at all, which in itself could be pregnancy or other things that are usually explaining these kind of things. So in essence, it's a very important metric. If you're not getting your periods at all, I think I'll just put a disclaimer out there for our viewers worldwide, Ghana, abroad. Your primary health practitioner in the UK, for example, it's your GP, would be the first point of call. Usually it's good to observe your cycles for at least 3 months. And if you're getting any symptoms that are untoward or unusual, for example, it would be good to at least see your GP. In the district, for example, in Ghana, community nurses are very common, and they are the ones that you would see firsthand. In the big cities like Accra, Kumasi, you would want to probably go to Konfanochi or Kolebu, where you can see a gynecologist specialist who can deal with some of these issues. Because let's be honest, not every cycle will be normal or usual. And normal isn't normal universally, as I've even heard from today's experience. And so every condition is different. You are part of the family of your mom, your dad. Always make sure you keep your conversations as open as possible. Try to learn from learning opportunities like these webinars that we're organizing. Eat well. Samira made a very good point there. Chocolate does produce oxytocin, which is a feel-good factor. So I can tell Sophia has been doing her reading as well there. Yeah. These are things that these are things that you can do to improve your general reproductive health. And again, menstruation is an underlying predictor of good menstrual and reproductive health, I'll say.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
Take care.
Do you know what? I had to bait him, convince him, do a whole lot to get him to come and join us. Great. So
We
I think we've got.
coming.
Sorry.
I said we appreciate him for saying all he said.
You could appreciate me as well. I did the convincing to get him here.
Michelle, just so you know, we have a few questions that have come in from viewers. So if you could spare us about 5-10 minutes.
Okay, then. So, yeah, what I'll do is I'll quickly go to the last question. So we write it up quickly so we can take the question. So ladies, make this very brief. I think I'll go back and start with Cece because she's got kids and I know she's raised a number of people as well. She's got a son. So Cece, do you think we should include boys and men in the conversation of menstruation?
Yes, we should, because we shouldn't forget that that our boys will grow up to and become husbands, and they would have to help their daughters as well. So we need to start and let them have an idea of what that's all about.
Yeah. Have you had a conversation with Kobe?
Not yet.
It's gonna come.
After today, she's gonna do it after the webinar.
It's so funny. Not yet, because I find it very difficult to talk about it to him. I don't know how he's going
That's
to talk
not.
about it. Yeah.
It's actually very normal that you find it difficult to talk to your male child. It's understandable, but we would like that we would all get comfortable one day to be able to break the news to everybody, even to your female daughter. It's hard. One more of your male child. It will get there. It will get there.
Sophia, do you think we should? Sorry, Sophia, do you think we should be including boys and men in the conversation? You've got a son. He's like my boyfriend. So yeah.
Yes, we should. Like Sissy rightly said, they are the ones who are growing up to become the husbands to support their wives. My husband supports me a lot when I have my menstruation. And I'm sure it's the same for you, Michelle.
Oh,
he
yes.
goes out to buy the menstrual pads. So yeah, when we go out on outreaches, we do involve the boys.
Oh, that's a good one. So yes, when you meet the school kids, you do get the schools to bring the boys along as well.
Bring them together, and then if you check our Facebook post, you see some of our pictures with the boys and the girls put together. So yes, it is very important that we bring the boys into the conversation.
Sophia, I know we're running out of time, but I just want to ask you a quick question on the back of what you just said. What has been the experience like talking to boys about it in Ghana? Because, back home, our culture is we're quite reserved and we don't like to talk about these things. I know it's quite easy talking to boys here, not that easy, but it will be a bit easier talking to boys here about it. But what do you think the experience has been and the response has been when you talk to boys in schools about periods?
In the first place, they make it uncomfortable for you, even though you, the carrier or the educator, is confident and experienced.
Really?
Yes, they do, because they wouldn't sit straight. I remember we went to Asari Chrome not long ago, and then we gave the mannequin uterus for the boys, and some of them wouldn't hold it. Although it was a mannequin, some of them wouldn't even look at it. And I remember I asked one of the boys to come forward and then demonstrate how we to use the menstrual pad on the knickers, and he wouldn't do it because he said to me that if he does it, he will not be able to come to school the next day because his friends are going to tease him.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yes. So back to the question, it is important that we bring them in, but some of them will make it very uncomfortable for you. Not for them, but because of everything around them, their friends, the stigma and the teasing. Yes.
Yeah, and also from my experience, I think it's good to get men involved in the conversation. I always say this, when I first got married, because I grew up in a house where my dad goes out and he buys our sanitary pads. So he knows what brand I use, what my sister uses, what my mom uses. And even my brother, David, he's quite involved. He buys the sanitary pads for his wife. So I got married expecting the same thing, that I'll come home and if my husband is going to do the grocery, I'll say, oh, babe, can you get this? So I said to him one time, oh, babe, when you go to Boots, can he? He goes, hell no, I'm not buying you anything, woman. Go get it yourself. And I was so peeved. I was like, what is wrong with buying a sanitary pad? He goes, I'm not doing it. And I'm thinking, I married a medical doctor. This should be easy for him. And he goes, look, I never even saw my sister's sanitary pad, so I'm not touching it. And it took a while and a lot of conversations to get him to the point where he would literally go and say, okay, I'm buying this. Do you want me to get you some sanitary pads? Or he would just come back and buy it. And you would have expected that his background, his profession would make it easy. It still goes back to culture and how we're talking about it and making it comfortable to discuss.
And Michelle, I think you've made a really good point there. You would assume that someone who has a medical background will know how important it is to support you. But then we shouldn't forget that he has not had menstrual health education. And that is why this comprehensive education is so important. It is not any other education, but then tailor-made menstrual health education to break the stigma and the taboo.
Yeah. Sophia, I know we've got some questions. Let me see how many minutes we've got. We've got roughly about 10 minutes.
Yeah, we've answered some of the questions. So one important question is taking emergency pills, does taking emergency pills have any effect on menstrual period for girls?
What is a emergency pill? I want them to elect.
Is this like the contraceptive pill?
Contraceptive
the morning after pill.
Okay. So what was the question? They asking, does it have effect on your menses?
Yes.
Some of it, as a registered nurse, I could tell you that some of it can have an effect on your menses. Here is the thing. These contraceptive pills, they're made of hormones and some chemicals and stuff to prevent the sperm from fusing with the egg, right? So something has to break that chain. Remember, it's going into your reproductive health. So of course, it's gonna have effect. Some of it, I'm not saying all of it because I'm not the pharmacist. I'm just a registered nurse to let you know that yes, it can have effect on your menses. So you have to be careful which one you're using. You have to read the instructions on the labels. And let's say you happen to take it and it has effect on your menses. I would suggest that you see your provider. I don't know. Well, you have to go to a provider before you go to a gynecologist anyway. So if you have a gynecologist, you could see them, but always have that conversation with your medical provider as to, I took this pill, this is what it was, this was what was in it. So always read the labels before you take it. Not everything is good for you.
Sure. Any more questions, Sophia?
Yeah, so the next question is, menstrual pains are becoming very common among young ladies. Could it be the food they eat? This is from Emmanuel.
I mean, for the pain, I don't think it has to do necessarily with the food, but what we said earlier, remember Cece had mentioned that she avoided a lot of sugary and dairy products. I would say that for a person, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, especially for females, because of our reproductive health, you have to be healthy. You have to watch everything that you eat because we are what we eat. So let's say if you're eating a certain kind of food and it's causing you to have menstrual pains at the end of the month, I would suggest that you actually cut it off or eat it in moderation if there is a specific food. But like this goes back to previously when Samira has said, keep a diary of your menstrual cycle. Like there are apps and things that could keep a diary of things for you. You don't necessarily have to write it down. But if you keep a diary, you know, this month I had this level of pain. The following month, you didn't have that much pain. So you assess as the prior month, what were you doing before and what you're not doing this month. It has to be a check and balance. That's what I like to say about that. But there hasn't been like a specific, like, you know, medically proving that this food causes the pain. Everybody's different.
Yeah. Samira, do you want to add anything to that? I think Samira's frozen.
Okay.
Samira's still with us? Okay.
I'll go on to the last question.
Yeah.
The last question is, should these products be readily available in public places, including work, and be made accessible like toilet paper? This is from Kezia.
Is it, what products? Is it menstrual products?
Menstrual products, yes.
Right. Okay, I have a question now to the general public. I want them, if they're asking us a question, we're trying to normalize this. Be free to say it. Be free to say pads, sanitary napkins, tampons, be free. We want to break the cycle of hiding things or trying to sugarcoat them. Just say it. It's normal, right, Cece? Don't you agree? Say
I
it.
agree
Be
with
free.
you. I agree, yeah.
So, what products are you talking about? Food products,
tampons, menstrual pads. Yeah,
it should be made available everywhere you are. Everywhere a person is, even in churches, it could be made available in the church bathroom. In my church, for one, in our bathroom, they have this dispenser that I think you pay $0.25, because you never know sometimes when you're gonna have your menses. Not all of us carry pads in our bag. You know that. Not everybody walks around with pads. So it should be available almost everywhere for accessibility. Remember, having education about menstrual health is also having access to these products to use. So I think it should. I believe it should.
And I think I agree with that. And I think this year, Sophia, was it this year or last year that Scotland passed the bill to provide free menstrual pads for girls in Scotland? So we know girls in Scotland can access menstrual pads or menstrual products for free. And it goes back to I hate to say this, but it goes back to what we normally say. Menstruation is not by choice. No girl or woman wakes up and says, today I want to menstruate or I want to skip menstruation. It is something that occurs naturally. And things like sex is a choice, but then free condoms are provided for people to use. So as a society, we need to start moving towards making this easy for girls and girls accessing products much more easily and affordably. Yeah. Any other questions?
No, that's it. That's all the questions.
So my last question to you, and I'll probably start with Sissy again, is I want to know how have you managed your career around looking at the monthly menstruation, monthly periods? How have you managed your career? Because I know you're very successful. You're at the height of your career. How have you done it?
Okay, thank you for this question. I'm somebody who likes wearing white a lot, and anytime I realize I have my menses and I have to go out for ministrations and all that, I avoid wearing white because I don't want any embarrassment. So I do avoid wearing white, and I wear colorful dresses too wherever I want to go, and also make sure I have my top hats in my bag and all that.
Okay. Sophia, yourself, how have you managed? Because you're a busy mom of 3, GFF, you're all over the place. How have you managed your life around your periods?
Like Samira said, it's about getting to know your body, your cycle, getting to know at what point. So for myself, I wouldn't travel around my menstrual cycle. No, I love traveling, but whatever you do, I wouldn't go. So it's about getting to know myself, my menstrual cycle, and always making sure that I have a spare menstrual pad in my bag. Wherever I go, there's a spare one in my bag.
Yeah. Pat, what about yourself? How have you managed it? Because you're successful, doing well as well in your field. Quite busy.
I'm running around like 12 hours a day. So mostly, like she said, you know, you have to know your body, what times your flows are heavy, what times they're lighter. Usually in the beginning, they might not be heavier as in the middle of it. So what I do is you keep a track of it. Make sure you know when you're going to have your heaviest, when you're going to have your low. But here is the thing. You cannot always know that. So I would suggest to everybody that is listening in now that carry a spare one. Even an underwear, you could carry a spare underwear, a spare pad, anything that you use as in support for your menstrual hygiene. You have to carry a spare one as a female. That's why we carry the big pocketbooks anyway. You carry a big giant pocketbook, put some in there. That pocketbook is not just for a wallet. You guys know that. It's empty. It's empty. So put something in there. Put like one, hide it in there somewhere. Or put 2. Maybe I might need another one from you.
Yeah,
you never know.
Help a sister.
Help a sister out. Put 2.
Yeah, I think for me as well, what I'll say is women should know, and especially young girls, that menstruation or period should not in any way limit you. You can go out to be whoever you want to be. You can go out to be successful. I know a lot of girls in rural areas skip school because of periods. And sometimes even those in cities, if you've got heavy bleeding, cramps, you're unable to go to school, but that should not in any way inhibit you. You can be at the top of your career, you can do well, you can be in any boardroom. You've just got to, as most of the ladies on this panel have shared, you just got to know your body. Know when you have your heavy flow, manage it, dress properly. That's one key thing. Dress properly, because when you dress properly, you be confident in yourself, and confidence radiates. So dress properly, take a spare sanitary pad, a spare knickers. And also to the general public, be kind to girls. It's a lot going through periods. The hormones in itself make it difficult. Sometimes you don't even want to talk to anyone. Sometimes women are grumpy, they're emotional, not because they choose to. So when you come across a woman being a bit funny or being a bit quiet, not being so nice, please be kind. You never know what she's going through emotionally. So let's be supportive of each other. Sophia, any final words from you? Because we're going to try and run up.
Yes. My final words, I'm sure you can guess and you'll be right, is to give a gift of pad. A lot of girls out there are struggling with menstrual pads, and that is a fact. So if you can, sponsor a charity, donate to a charity, donate to GFF, give a gift of pad. Yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Sissy, last words from you. Anything more you got to say?
Okay, I think all that we've said here, we should be able to open up to people and our children. You know, being an African woman, I mean, we hide this kind of thing from our children. But from now on, I think we should be open up and teach them to know what to do. Yeah.
Final words from yourself.
I think today the key word that we learned from this should be normal.
Yeah,
menstruation
are normal.
Menstrual hygiene is normal. So what if you soiled yourself? It's not the end of the world. I want to tell the girls, it's okay. Don't feel shy. But like Michelle said, please be kind to us. If you notice I soiled myself, let me know, because I might not know. We have to normalize this, because I did not create myself. Whoever created me decided that this is part of me. This is normal to come. Every month it's going to happen. So we have to think it's normal. Do not hide it. Do not say, do not go to the store like Michelle and run around and not purchase your pad when you need it.
I'm a changed woman.
Just pick it up, go to the store and pay for it. Nobody has the right to dump your spirit because you bought a sanitary napkin. You were a female. It's a pride of you, humanhood. So you should be comfortable in doing all of that. That's your pride. It's not a sin. You didn't buy the devil. You know, you should normalize everything. So the key word today, I would say, menstruation is normal.
It's definitely normal. So we're going to, and Samira is back. I think we've got Samira back.
Samira is back, yeah.
Hi.
Hey, Sami. Final words from you, Sam.
So just listening to you all there, I think the key thing is just be kind. And from a midwifery point of view, women's health is, you know, the forefront. So I want us to sort of take away how we can promote women's health in general, not only menstruation, but reproduction, even menopause. Like, let's try and really push women's health. Like, hopefully we can continue to do this, and I hope we can just, you know, promote our health as women, because yeah, you know, we're unique, our bodies are unique. We, you know, that's what I'd like to leave, if we can, you know, push forward women's health and health promotion.
Yes, I think final words from me, as I said before, periods can be very difficult for most people, especially younger girls. And women deserve to be educated and prepared for it. So anyone watching this video, please spread this forward, share this educated video with your girls, your girlfriends, your daughters, your nieces, cousins, aunties, even the boys, because we need them to come on board. We need them to be supportive husbands when they marry us in the future. So that is from GFF today, Girls Flow Free. We've been very happy having every one of you watching us. Keep your questions coming. Any ones that weren't able to address on this webinar will probably be addressed tomorrow by the men, or on the 20th of June when Sophia sits with my husband to talk about menstruation and reproductive health. Thank you so much, ladies. Really appreciate. I wish I could send some jollof rice to you, Lord. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.